Good morning, students. So, after finishing chapter 4 and your doubt clarifying sessions, today I'm going to start chapter 5, the periodic table. In this chapter, we are going to learn about the origin of periodic table, that how it is discovered, why there is a need to develop it, and how it has come to this extent, and what is the history about periodic table. So let's get started. So first introduction, that in previous chapters I have explained you about elements and compounds. So you know that there are total over 117 elements discovered, out of which 92 are natural, and and others are um, out of which 92 elements are natural and others are man-made. So the periodic table stands as a magnificent representation of properties and trends available for these elements at a glance. But this was not always the case. Classification was not always so elaborate and precise. It has evolved over the years through contributions from various eminent thinkers and chemists in different eras. After developing these elements, scientists think that how to discriminate among the properties and among the atomic numbers and atomic mass of the different elements, and how to differentiate in between the elements. So they developed this periodic table and for the classification of the elements. Classification was always dependent on the need of the hour. The earliest attempts were to classify elements into metals and non-metals. Then this classification was considered too broad as science progressed and newer elements were discovered. And as the list grew up, so did the need for an appropriate and representative classification. It was not thought absolutely necessary to classify elements to facilitate their study, correlate their properties, and to reveal a relationship between elements. And for this comparison and for this compatibility, scientists tried to discover a proper way to differentiate, compare, and elaborate the studies of the element. And hence they discovered periodic table. Now, what were the attempts? First attempt, some early attempts which were made for the classification of the element. So, the first attempt was Dobrinier's triad. In 1817, Johann Wolfgang Dobrinier arranged elements with similar properties in group of three, and he called this his triad. Now, what are the examples of Dobrinier triads? Lithium, sodium, potassium, calcium, strontium, barium, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. In this triad, he noticed a peculiar mathematical relation, that on arranging each triad in an increasing order of atomic masses, Dobrinier noticed that the average of the atomic masses of the heaviest and the lightest element of a triad was approximately equal to the atomic mass of the element placed in the middle. For example, here let's get one triad: lithium, sodium, and potassium. So here the atomic mass of the highest and lightest element, that is lithium and potassium, which is in first and last place, will be approximately equal to the average atomic mass of the sodium. Now here all have the valency 1. Now these triads which he has arranged in this, he has found one more similarity, that there are the similarities in chemical properties of the triads. That is, they all are metals, they all react with water to form alkali and liberate hydrogen gas, and they all have valency of 1. So in this way he has discovered the law of triads. And after seeing all these phenomena, Dobrinier therefore proposed that if elements with similar properties were grouped in threes and placed in an increasing order of their atomic masses, then the atomic mass of the element placed in the middle was approximately equal to the average atomic masses of the other two elements of the triad. For example, let me explain you that here we have taken the example lithium, sodium and potassium. Okay, so the atomic mass of lithium is 7 and that of potassium is 39, and the average of these two value will be 7 plus 39 divided by 2, that will be 46 by 2, and it is 23, which is the atomic mass of sodium. So in this way he has added that peculiar mathematical description. Then after Dobner, though Dobner was the first to recognize the relation between atomic mass and the chemical properties, his idea of classification was rejected as not many elements could be classified as triad. So Dobner could identify only three triads from the elements known at that time. So Dobner concepts was rejected and then new concept has come, that is Newland's law of octaves. So in 1864, John Newland arranged the then known elements in the order of increasing atomic masses. He found out that every eighth element had properties similar to the first element. When we arrange it in a row, arrange it in an element like first 20 element. So in first element, every eighth number element has the property similar to the first element. According to Newton's law of octaves, when elements are arranged in the order of increasing atomic masses, the physical and chemical properties of every eighth element are a repetition of the properties of the first element. Now, from where he had learned this law of octaves, from where he has arranged it like that. So, Newland law, called the law of octaves, is just like the repetition of the eighth note in an octave of music. As we know that only 7 musical notes are there. Okay, so every eighth note is similar to the first one. The music for a song is composed by a musician by using these 7 musical notes and repeating the various combination. By using the various combination of their 7 musical notes and repeating the various combination of these 7 musical. So due to this analogy, Newland's theory was related with this octaves theory of music, and he has proposed the same theory that every eighth element will be same as the first one, as in the tones and the tones of the music and composition of the music. Every eighth one will be similar to there are total 7 words which make music, and the eighth one is always similar to the first one. So from here he has learned this concept, and since the repetition is the properties of the first and the eighth element, is just like the repetition of the eighth note is in an octave. So Newland law is also known as the law of octaves. Now, as there were some drawbacks for the Dobner's triads, there are some drawbacks for the Newland's law of octaves also. That drawbacks are the law of octaves. The law of octaves was applicable only for the lighter elements. Like for elements after calcium, every eighth element did not exhibit properties similar to that of the first one. So that's why the law of octaves was applicable only for the lighter element. Newland assumed that only 56 elements existed in nature, and so no new element would be discovered in the future, which is actually wrong. After that, so many new elements were discovered, and that's why this law was not applicable on that element. In order to fit the elements in his periodic table, Newland assigned one position to 2 elements. For example, only one position was assigned to cobalt and nickel both. So there is no space for arranging the elements. Nevertheless, Newland provided the chemistry fraternity with 2 outstanding concepts. Atomic mass was agreed upon the basis of classification, and periodicity of properties was recognized for the first time. So these 2 were the advantage. Rest of the 3 things were the disadvantages of the Newland's law of octaves. So when these drawbacks has come, Again, then Mendeleev's periodic law was found, and from there is the origin of periodic table and Mendeleev's law. So in this video, just this two laws I have explained. And in my next video, I am going to explain about the Mendeleev's periodic law and how that periodic table is discovered. Till then, just use this video for your studies. Thank you and have a nice day.